So this is what we're making, a little delicate ring using gallery wire. Gallery wire is just a fancy bezel. Most jewelry suppliers have it. And this isn't normally meant for a ring, it's normally meant for a bezel, but it makes a cute little delicate ring. We're using gallery wire for this, sterling. Now, this is just fancy bezel wire. They're quite fancy. But I'm going to use it to make a small, delicate ring. So what we need is the ring size, and this is an S, which is 19 millimeters inside diameter. The gallery wire is 0.5 thick. So we add those two, multiply by 3.14, we end up with 61.23. And since I need to look at the wire, I'm going to set this exactly. Eventually. Tighten it, and I'm going to lay the gallery wire on the bench. And use my calipers to look, because what I want to do is cut this so that the pattern is the same, so that you can't see the join. Now it looks like I'm going to be able to go in between the little heart bits. So what I'll do is mark this. Yep. Now, if you try to saw this, you'll just make a mess. So what we're going to do is use the shears, and we're going to cut it slightly long so that we can file back to the mark. Make sure your shears are nice and sharp. I'm just going to hold this tightly in my fingers and use Swiss No. 2 cut flat hand file. So once you have this filed so that it's nice and flat and it's to the point on the pattern, you're just going to form it around with your fingers. Because it is annealed, we want the ends to touch perfectly. You could use your flat half-round pliers if you want, but it is really soft and easy to form. You just want to be careful that you don't bend these little edges up. And you can see that by matching our pattern, when this is soldered, it's going to be fairly invisible. So just get the ends so that they fit perfectly, and then we'll solder it. Now I'm going to put the join down, and I'm going to I'll zoom in and I'll see if I can get it close enough so you can see. I'm going to use a small piece of hard solder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the solder and the flux on the inside of the ring. Now if this were a bezel, you would put it on the outside because you don't want a lump on the inside. But because this is going to be a ring, we're going to do it slightly differently. So my join is on the bottom, and a small amount of flux. We don't need a large amount. And I'm going to use about a 1.5 millimeter long piece of hard solder. Going to just rest it on the join. Now normally I say, oh, we use the same flame for everything. Well, we do normally, but this is a fairly small and thin piece of material, so we're going to use a smaller flame. So you can see I only have about a 50 millimeter long flame on my mini torch. Still a neutral flame, and dry out the flux. Make sure the solder's in place. And watch your flame on this one because you don't want to melt your little crowns on the other side. So I'm just kind of going on and off. So there, the solder flowed, and that's it. So quench pickle, and you can see on the outside where I soldered, there's just the smallest line of solder. So I'm not going to do anything to that. No cleanup, no nothing. So we'll pickle it and then shape it. So I'm out of the pickle. Well, the ring's out of the pickle. Rinse it, dry it, form it around your ring mandrel with your rawhide hammer. Now this is very fragile. It's not meant to be a ring, but it's pretty and delicate. So there it is, a nice little delicate ring.